Testing. Okay. Um, so my name's David Lucas, and I wanted to document my experiment with day trading. I've been looking this up for a while. Um, a friend of ours, we met a friend of ours who day trades professionally in South Africa, and I actually travel. I travel full time with my wife. She's amazing, and I just wanted to get into this, but I wanted to take my time and learn as I'm traveling how to do this day trading thing. And so I got into it with the understanding that it'll take a year or two to really get to the point where I feel very, very confident with it. So generally speaking, on the aptitude level, I understand things pretty quickly. But the stock market is like a foreign language, and I don't do well with foreign language. So I gave myself 2 years to prepare myself to really dig in deep and understand this day trading thing. Right away, when I got into it and started looking into it, it was complicated to say the least. All the charts and diagrams and fast pace of all the stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and options and futures, and just learning all of that stuff as fast as I possibly can, watching a bunch of videos on it, that kind of thing. And I learned that you can learn day trading by paper trading. A lot of these brokers there's many brokers, but they have these options where you can paper trade. And paper trading is like trading stocks with monopoly money. Just think of it like that. When you play Monopoly, you play with fake money, and so you're playing the game to win, but at the same time you're not really losing any real money. You're just playing the game and having a good time with it. Well, I have learned that paper trading, in a sense, is much slower than the actual speed of pace for the stock market, in a sense. So when you're paper trading, you're looking at real stocks. You're looking at the real transactions happening right there in front of you. And you're making transactions as well. But the paper trading platform, in and of its sense, is slower, is much slower paced than the real life day trading. So you can't get into trades and out of trades as fast as you would be is when you're as compared to when you're working with real money. So that should make sense. When you're working with real money, it happens a lot quicker. There's a lot more features and a lot more functions that you have available to you. But in the paper trading or the fake money, everything's slower. So the first week out when I started trading, and I knew absolutely nothing. When I say trading, I do mean paper trading. I'm not trading real money. So when I started the trade, the first week went really, really great. I saw that, wow, I can make some money doing this. And it felt great. And I was just following a really simple strategy that I learned on YouTube. And it was working. I was able to pick out the stocks I wanted, and I was able to trade them how I wanted, and I was able to get in and get out like I wanted. And at that time, I didn't realize I'm moving really, really slow. So, but I was having some up days and I was having some down days, but I was having some up days. So that was like my first week. The second week I started doing it, it seemed like every day I was losing money. Every day I was losing money. I wasn't frustrated. I was getting impatient. I felt like, hey, I made that trade on time. I should have made some money. What I didn't realize was, as I was making that trade, the stock market would quickly move. By the time my trade cleared, I had lost money. So it wasn't that I was taking a bad trade. I got in the trade where I wanted to. I just couldn't get out the way I wanted to. And that happens in real life, in real money. So these are lessons that I'm learning as I go along and learn how to really do it. And I found myself messing up. So I started texting people on YouTube and different ones and got some responses. And people were like, well, are you trading this way? And are you doing this? And are you doing that? I said, yes. And so then I learned, hey, I need to look up some more of these terms. I need to learn some more of these skills. Like I said, I'm giving myself 2 years. But there's so much more to learn than just getting in a trade, getting out of trade, and hoping you made some money at the end of the day. There's a lot more to learn to it. So just having your strategy and all of those things. So I'm learning this. So you might ask, why am I making this video? I'm making this video because I want to know where I started today. I hope to one day be a millionaire at some point doing this. Okay. But I want to look back on the first couple of videos and where I was, and I can remember this time where I'm at, what I was doing, what my skill set was, how horrible I am at it, and just really realize that once I get good at this, that I wasn't always good at it. I had to start out like everybody else and teach myself the ropes and learn. So, and I've had some terrible days doing this. So basically, right now I'm counting. I started out counting how I made money on the system as points. You know, I made this many points a day, or I lost this many points a day. My wife helped me to realize that that probably wasn't the best way to do it. So I started looking at how she does it and found out it's probably better if I just count real money, like count dollars, like how many dollars did I make today and how many dollars did I lose today? How horrible really was it, or how great it really was? So I'm going to tell you right now some of the things I'm learning by the mistakes I've already made in the last couple of weeks, just so I can remember and so you'll know as well. One of the first things I learned is this. You're going to have great days and you're going to have bad days, and your emotions can't be just way up great when it's good and way down bad when it's bad. It's got to be even. You got to look at it like you're going to work every day, and you're going to have great days and you're going to have bad days, and they sort themselves out in the end. Hopefully, the better you get, then that's, hopefully you'll have more wins than you have losses, or you'll have bigger wins and smaller losses. So it might be that you have the same number of wins and the same number of losses, but hopefully the losses will be much smaller and the wins will be much bigger. So however that shakes itself out in the lottery, that's what you're going for. Just trying to get better and better every day. And I have found things that have made me better, and I'll tell you about one of them in a minute. But another thing I've learned is that you have to get out when you're ahead. If you get up a couple of dollars, in one day, that's a good day. I mean, if you get $1 in a day in the stock market, you take $1, you take a profit, you've taken money from a system that's designed to take your money. So you had a good day. So if I get up $2 or $3, that's 2 or 3 days of profit right there, depending on how much I invested. So when I say $1, let me give you an example. When I say $1, one day that dollar that I made today is going to be worth $1,000 or $10,000, maybe $100,000. Okay. So if I keep doing this and get better and better, that means that I'll have more to invest, and my trades are going to naturally go up in value, and I'll have more money that I can make. At the same time, hopefully my skill level will have also gone up, because that also means that I'm risking more money and I could lose more money. Okay. So all of it should kind of balance out in the end if I'm getting better every day. So that's the hope. The hope is that I'll get better every day. But take your wins and run with them, you know. And I'll give you a perfect example of that. About 2 days ago, and this is why I should be writing this down. I'm going to start writing this down. 2 days ago, I was up like $5. Okay, and I'll tell you what that means in just a second. I was up $5. By the time it was over and done, I had lost about $13. Okay, so that means if I lost $13, that means I lost the 5 I already had, and then I lost an additional 13. Okay, so, and it happens really, really quick. So you just got to understand. Now, let me tell you what this means to get $1 a day. Day traders, which is what I want to be, day traders can be good and can make a good living off of a 10-cent trade or 20-cent trade. That means they made a trade and their stock went up 10 cents and they took that as profit. And or it went up 20 cents and they took that as profit. And they were done for the day. After a 10-cent trade, a 20-cent trade, they were done for the day. But that could mean that they got $1,000 or $10,000, depending on what their level of expertise is and depending on how much they put into that trade. 10 cents can mean a lot. So imagine someone like me who could take a potential and have $1.60 in a day, or $2 in a day, or $5 in a day, or $3 in a day. That means I've made who knows? That means I've made a week's worth of profits in maybe 15 minutes. So it just depends on your level and how much you're investing and all of those kind of things. So my goal is to just become really proficient at day trading. And there's different types of trading. There's swing trading. There's, people who buy stocks and keep them forever. There's all kind of trading going on. But the kind of trading I want to do is I want to create an income with it. And just create an income with it. And that could mean, if I'm successful, that could mean my work day would literally be 15 minutes or an hour, maybe 2 hours, a work day. Imagine having a 2-hour work day, that kind of a thing. So as I'm looking at this and I'm learning more about it, yes, I'm excited, but it also it can be frustrating at times because when you make mistakes, simple mistakes, you can be down $100. You could be down $500. You could be down $1,000 in one day. And that means that if that's your day, if that's your day, you have to walk away from it and say, okay, well, I gave it my best shot today. It didn't work out. I'll try again tomorrow. Okay. Now, a lot of people can't do that. They can't do that. A lot of people have a hard time with just saying, okay, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. It's going to average out. The whole thing is hopefully you're going to win when it's important and you're going to lose when it's less important. Or what's going to happen is you're going to win, but then you're going to manage your risk to keep you from losing really, really bad. Okay. So, and there are ways to do that. So there's ways to win and really, really take a good profit and then get to a point where you understand where you lose money at and stop your losses before you bleed out. Okay. Now, I haven't gotten that good yet. I'm working on that. I just learned another skill. Okay. And it worked pretty well today. I took some bad trades today. but it worked pretty well. I got up about $5 or something. By the end of the day, I was down for something, okay? Because I took some bad trades after that. But that's what I mean. You got to be able to get out while you're ahead before you lose all your profits for that day. Because you're going to have days when you don't make any profit. You're going to have days when you make a lot. And so you want that to balance out. At least I do. I want that to balance out in a good way. So I'm figuring this out. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm figuring this out. But I know one thing. One thing I truly believe in. And that is, most times when I stick with something, I learn it. I figure it out. It takes time. But if I go through the bumps and bruises, I'm going to figure this out. So that's my hope. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to keep studying it. I feel like I'm already to the point where I can find decent stocks to trade for the day. I'm already to that point. So then I look for my next goal and look for my next goal and look for my next goal. My goal right now is my timing of just getting in a trade at the right time and then work on getting out of that trade at the right time. And that's what I'm practicing right now, and I feel like I'm getting better at it. Now, so let me tell you one of the mistakes I made earlier on. One of the mistakes I made, I have to keep looking, I'm not used to this. I have to keep looking at this camera. One of the mistakes I made is that I was buying market and I was selling market. And I was getting in some really good trades, and I should have been making some really good money on these trades. But every time I looked up, they call it slippage. When you close out a trade and you lose some money. And I said, something's wrong with my computer. It's just got to be something wrong with my computer because I know I'm getting in and then I get out on top. How is it that when I get out, it sells and I'm still losing money when I should be making money? So I asked advice and I got some advice and I found out I was selling all wrong. So basically I was buying at whatever the price the market would give me, which is bad. And I was selling at whatever price the market would give me, which is bad. Okay. So that meant I was getting into the trade bad and I was getting out of the trade worse. So I was losing money and I had to figure that out. So I think I figured that out, at least for me, for right now, my level. For me, I should buy on a stop and I should sell on a limit. And a stop means that when I buy at a specific price. So when the market is moving, I buy at a specific price. I'm not buying at whatever the market gives me. I'm buying at a specific price so I know where I'm getting in on the trade. And when I get out, I'm buying on a limit, which basically says when this trade hits this number, sell it and take my profit for me. Because what I was doing was when I was selling it, I was hitting it at the moment and hoping it'll go through at the moment and hoping that I would take the best price trade. And it just wasn't happening. So what this does is this helps me to say, I'm in at this number, I'm out at that number. And that's helping me. And I'm new at that. This is new. This is like 2 days old. This is like my second day practicing that. I'm 2 days old in that. So I'm practicing that and I'm getting better at it. So I wanted to give it a little bit of time just to get better at the practice of doing that and see if it profits me some. It's already helping me out some, but just to get in the practice of doing it over and over and keying it in. That's what I want to do. And another thing is I learned the 20-20 rule. A lot of people don't know this. There's a there's a rule called 20-20. So that means, like, let's say you're trying to figure out how much to invest. Let's say you got $100 to invest, right? So the 20-20 rule keeps you from spending all your money and throwing it all up in the air at one time. So if you got $100, you're only supposed to invest 20 of those dollars, right? So then you live to invest another day. So if I lose all $20, then tomorrow I got $80 to work with, and then I take 20% of that. Now, you see how that goes? So basically, if today I'm investing $20 and hopefully I made $1, then tomorrow I got $101 I can work with. So over time, every day that builds up, and exponentially over time, if done correctly, in a number of years, that could be millions of dollars. So that's just statistically. So but the goal is to be able to invest each day. So you don't want to spend 100% of your money and say, hey, I've got this one stock. It's really going to do the great. And the news might say, hey, this stock is going to be great today. You're going to make a lot of money on this stock. Invest in this stock today. Well, that's wonderful. But not every trade is going to be a winner. So just knowing that sticking to your rule would mean that you would survive. Even if you lost every cent hopefully you won't, but even if you lost every cent that you had to invest today, you still be able to invest tomorrow because you only invested a limit of 20% of your money, right? So you want to stay alive in it, and you want to keep going until you get thousands and thousands and thousands of trades. And then you can look back on the data and it'll tell you when is the best time for you to trade. Well, I trade best in the morning, or I trade best in the afternoon. Okay, well, where did I make most of my money? Well, I made most of my money between $2 and $20 on my trades. So I don't need to be buying stocks that are $50, $60 if most of my money is made on $10 to $20 trades. So your data will tell you that over time. You can look at that and it'll tell you what you need to be focused on. And then you'll be able to say, okay, well, I only like high volume trades, or I only like options, or I only like futures, or I only like stocks, because that's where I make my money. So after you played with it a little while, you figure out the ones that you're really, really good at. So, like I said, I'm just starting this out now, and I'm going to be documenting as I go along. And if you're in the same position that I'm in, or you're just thinking about you want to get into day trading, or you're thinking about what you're doing. Now, when I first start out, as I'm doing this now, I'm not going to be on the computer trying to do a live stream because I'm not that good. I'm not good enough to do a live stream and try to day trade at the same time. I'm just not that good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to live stream after my day trade to say how it went that day. Maybe it went great and I feel great about it. Or maybe I sucked and kicked rocks and just, want to throw my computer out of the window. Who knows? But I'm going to be talking about that on my live stream. And if you want to check it out, you can. You're welcome to come here and see how David's getting along with his day trading adventure. So that's where I'm at, and that's what I'm going to be doing. So at least a few times a week, that's what I'm going to be talking about. So check it out.